What's up, guys? Ron Harris here. And a few hours ago, which in social media time is 10,000 years ago, Urs Kalecinski, the Miracle Bear, made a very, I don't know if it was a shocking announcement. A lot of us probably saw this coming a while ago. He is leaving Classic Physique immediately. Not after this year, not after this Olympia. He's never going back to Classic Physique. So he said, I've decided to switch class to open class bodybuilding. Want to inform you about my thought process. Struggle to cut weight for Classic has become increasingly difficult to a point where I either had to sacrifice my health tremendously or my best possible physique attainable. Those who accompanied me through last year's Olympia know I had suffered from depression and anxieties. I've been trying to grow and evolve my physique while always thinking a weight cut will somehow be possible when it comes to prep for competition. I now know I had underestimated the consequences of such a big cut. My body has been put under continuous stress, and my mental health has been afflicted with this problem constantly. Classic Physique and its ambassadors from early stages of bodybuilding, Flex Wheeler, Lee Labrada, etc., have been my biggest inspiration to pursue the sport in a similar physique. The division will always have a special place in my heart, and I'm beyond grateful for the past 5 years competing in this division with competitors that have become friends for a lifetime. I'm almost crying writing this, but my body keeps telling me to release all the brakes and strive for my personal best physique possible. Sadly, this isn't possible in Classic Physique anymore. I'm well aware of the consequences, be it economically, competition placings, or disappointing followers, but I got to listen to my heart and follow my gut feeling. Yeah, this is really shocking here. I'm also aware my chances to compete with the best of the best in open bodybuilding right now aren't as good as in Classic Physique, but I don't want this fact to keep me from the chance to fall in love with the sport again and strive for a new, mature version of my physique. Frankly speaking, I'm now 17 kilograms, which is about 37 pounds above my weight limit for Classic Physique, but my body is almost stage ready, meaning I'd have to lose about 15 kilograms or about 34 pounds of pure muscle mass to make weight. Honestly, this just feels wrong. Yeah, and where did he say? Okay, and right under that, he said, in summary, this means I'll abandon my Classic Physique qualification for this year's Mr. Olympia LLC. So he's not even doing the Olympia. You would think he would do one last Olympia. It's only 9 weeks away, 8 weeks away. And instead aim for an open bodybuilding qualification to compete at this year's Olympia. I'll be giving my open bodybuilding debut in Milan on 7th of September, IFBB Pro Italy. Wow. So the Italy show has some heavy hitters. We know that Quint Beastwood is doing it. He's staying with Samson Dauda for the last 3 weeks leading up to that show. Training with Samson. I'm sure Samson's wife, Marlena, is helping him with his prep. Also in that show, we have Sergio Oliva Jr., who is looking really good right now. We also have Mark Hector from the UK, who is no slouch at all. These guys are all very, very good. Let's take a look at how good Urs was in his last. So this was the last time we'd ever seen him on the Olympia stage. Because, is this it? Yeah. Yeah, because he decided to skip the the Arnold Classic this year. He didn't do the 2025 Arnold Classic. He wanted to focus on making improvements for the 2025 Olympia. And, we saw him training with Marcus Rule. And I had been hearing for the past couple of years, his off-season weight was going up to something like 265 or 270 pounds, which was, 60 pounds over his limit for Classic. I think he needs to, for his height, I believe he has to get down to something like 215. Now, in the early years, the very early years when Urs was a Classic Pro, and they've moved the weight cap up a couple times since then, but in the early years, Urs was under the weight cap by 10, 12 pounds. He still had room to grow, but he was also a young guy when he turned pro. If you remember, he turned pro at only 22 years old. He won his first pro show at 23, 3 years in a row, 2022, 2023, and 2024. Urs was third place at the Olympia. That's the best he ever did. He did get second place at the Arnold Classic. I think it was the year Ramon won, but he never did get that win, which probably bothered him. But the thing is, I thought we were going to see him. I thought we were going to see him in the Olympia this year because he seemed excited last year. Oh, here's Giles. And I'm joined by Giles Tiger Thomas. What's up, Giles?
How you doing, Ron?
Don't usually get you at this time of day.
Oh, hang on a minute. I've got the mic. Hang on.
Yeah.
There we go. Oh, that's better. I thought I was missing something.
Yeah. So Giles, we have a bit of a mathematical problem with his weight issues here, because he was saying for a long time that he was under the weight cap by something like 5-6 kilograms, 10 or 12 pounds, something in that area. And now he says he's 35 pounds over the limit for Classic. So at what point did he really outgrow the division? And did he outgrow it by that wide of a margin?
I don't know, because like you, I thought he was, even in the last year or two, he still had pounds to go before he hit his weight limit. And then we saw all these videos of him in the last couple of years going up to 270. Was it 270? I think in the off season he was going up to.
Yes.
And the thing is, I mean, he's incredible. His conditioning's fantastic. He's got incredible lower body, but he looks like one of the guys that, like you've got guys like Summerfield and other really, really thick Classic guys. But he looks like he can still gain a little bit of size, which is why he was kind of so good for Classic. Because if he was getting top 3 in Classic, in the Classic Olympia, and winning pro shows, and regarded as in the top 3 best Classic guys on the planet, then you know that he was likely to stay as a Classic. So for him to do this now, saying that the reason he's doing it is because he's so far over. The thing is, this is a guy who knows condition as well. So I mean, I just put on a group on Instagram there. I said 40 pounds over. That tells me if he's not going to be 40 pounds over what he would have been as his classic limit. That tells me that he's not going to be in condition. But this is a guy that knows condition, Ron. So I don't know what the hell is going on. I don't see this guy getting on stage as an open, not in condition. But I mean, how different is he going to look? I'm really. It was a big shock basically today.
Yeah, I mean, what we're looking at. Can you see this? Can you see him on your screen?
Yes.
So that was the last time we saw him, and that wasn't even a year ago. That was October 2024. So even if he was dieting away a good amount of pure lean muscle tissue to get to this weight and this look, you have to wonder how much was he actually dieting away? Was it like 10 pounds, 20 pounds more? And since then, has he added another 10, 20? I mean, it could all be feasible. I'm not doubting him when he says he's 34, but we have no photos to go by. I've been trying to see on his Instagram. He has not posted any kind of full body updates in a very long time.
Yeah, Ron, to be honest, I mean, I knew a guy once who was 300 pounds in the off season, and he carried it pretty well as well. I mean, his waist he didn't have a massive gut or anything. And I remember when he stepped on stage, he came down to 210, and he still had body fat and water to lose. So that, when I hear this, I'm 270 in the off season, it doesn't really matter to me. So what do you know what he weighs in pounds when he is on stage? Because he's quite tall, isn't he?
I mean, not as tall as you, but I want to say he's 5'10" or 5'11". Somebody can correct me.
Pretty tall.
That's a tall, for bodybuilding, that's tall. And I don't know the exact cutoff, but I believe he had to be about 215, certainly no heavier than that.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, of all the guys that I thought would be, if you said there's anyone that you think will switch to open, I would have said Urs wouldn't be one of those, because like I said, he was, as my understanding was, he was under the weight limit. He was maintaining a top 3 placing. Bumstead's now gone. So for him to now switch to open and saying that he really struggled to make weight, it doesn't add up for me. So, I mean, I'm obviously, I might be completely wrong, and I'm not saying he's being dishonest here, because he was talking about in his post about how he had like depression and anxiety because he had to come down so far to make his weight limit. So I feel like, I suppose the best thing is if you could try and get him for an interview, Ron, and try and just ask him and just say, look, walk us through this, because, the last we knew, you're way under the limit. Now you're saying you struggle to make weight, and now you're feeling like you have to go open. And he's not wasting any time. I mean, he kept this quiet, didn't he? The fact that I suppose people were just thinking he was getting ready for the Olympia. So to jump in Italy in 2.5 weeks' time, I mean, that was because when I saw that, I automatically thought, he's going to do Italy as an open, and then he's going to do the Olympia as a classic. But then a few people corrected me and said, no, if you watch the video, he's just staying open now. He's not doing classic at the Olympia. So, and you'd think with Chris Bumstead being gone, you'd think that he'd be jumping at the chance to get up there and get in the classic rather than be, let's be honest. I mean, if we look at the lineup in Italy, I mean, I don't see him beating any of those top 5 guys: Mark Hector, Sergio, Quinton, Theo, Lewis Breed. I mean, to me, that's likely going to be the top 5. You know, we don't even know the lineup yet. There might be other guys jumping in. So for him to go into what 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th at a sort of a smaller open pro show, rather than go to the Olympia and, you know, highly likely be top 3 or top 5 at the very least. I mean, does he, you know, because he's very consistent. Urs.
Yeah, he's never been lower than, I think, 4th at the Olympia or the Arnold ever.
There you go.
He's been as high as 2nd at the Arnold. He almost won the Arnold. 3rd place 3 years in a row. I actually messaged him and he got back to me. So I said, moving to open, I'm sure everyone is asking you for an interview. I'd love a brief one if you have time. He says, haha, it's wild. I need to set up my office. Then I have time. So I was thinking he was I thought he was going to set up his office and we're going to do the interview today. And then I said, I was at the gym and I'd be back at this time. He says, no, like he said, not possible. Like I said, I need to get my office ready first. We moved into our new house, bro. So he hasn't set up. So it means he needs to set up his office.
Right. Well, that's nice he got back to you, because I can imagine today his DMs are being blown up, you know, and people asking in Instagram, all these different Instagram accounts asking him what's what. So I think it's nice that he got back to you, because I had a good chat with Urs at the after party in Prague October. I was with Ronnie, and he came over and he sat on the chair next to me. We're at the owner of the EVLS. We're at the after party we always go to, and we sat eating some food. And he came over and sat down, and we had a chat for about 20, 30 minutes. So, and he gave me no indication there that he was thinking of switching to open at all. But a bit of a shock today. I didn't expect that. I mean, like Ramon, Wesley, even Summerfield. I mean, he's looking absolutely enormous. These are the guys that I would be expecting if anyone was going to announce they were going to open. Those are the kind of guys that I would, not the guys that we've kind of been led to believe are competing at quite comfortably under their weight cap.
Yeah, I want to interview him, because that's what's perplexing me is why not do this one last Olympia they already qualified for? You know, he could do this Italy Open. I guess it's just the idea of losing all that weight. He has to be losing a lot of pure muscle mass at this point. And I think you don't think so?
Ron, let's see what he looks like on stage. And I'm sure he'll look great. I'm sure his condition will be fantastic. I'm sure he'll be feeling great because he's bigger and heavier. But let's see. I'm sure he'll be in condition, but let's see how much heavier he is than what he would not. Than what he was at the Olympia last year. So I don't know what was it, 215 you said at the Olympia, maybe?
I'm sure I'm not off by much weight there.
So I mean, I'd be very shocked if he was more than like 225 or 230. I mean, this 40 pounds. I mean, that sounds like complete rubbish to me.
Well, let's see. I want to see how big he is. So here's a video from a week ago. This is a shirt on. I
mean, I'd be shocked even if he came in 20 pounds heavier. I mean, even that thing is 20 pounds on the physique he brought to the Olympia last year. I don't know how that's going to look, Ron.
That's what I'm very curious to see. I mean, I'm looking at this video. He's got a baggy shirt on, so you can't really get any indication. Yeah, I want to see if there's a video where he's got some sort of physique showing here. I guess I could show this anyway.
And you've seen the guys that, I mean, that guy I said that was 300 pounds and came down to 210. I mean, he was kind of competing at the kind of weight that I was. We were similar height. And in the off season, I looked like, you know, back then, I just looked like a sort of rugby player. And this guy looked like like a pro, like an absolute monster. But by the time it came to us hitting the stage, we were pretty much very, very similar kind of body weight. In fact, my condition was better than his. So, so it just shows you that you've seen many guys that are absolutely colossal in the off season, and then by the time they hit the stage, there's very little left of them. And then you see other guys, like a Kevin Navrone who looks like me in the off season, and then boom, 16 weeks later, he's 240, 250 shredded. So it's different for everyone. But I'd be interested to know in the truthful body weight. I just don't see him turning up out of condition. I don't see that happening because he set such a standard for himself. I mean, his glutes, I've seen him. I saw him compete in Prague at the Olympia. I mean, his condition, his quality. I mean, the guy is like, he's top level classic in a very competitive category. So I don't see him turning up anything not in condition. So I think he's training with Marcus Rule. Maybe Marcus Rule's, getting the body weight thing into his head,
I was going to say that's my suspicion, is that they seem to be pretty chummy, which, Marcus is a cool guy. I'm sure that Marcus had something to do with it. They must have had conversations about how much he was growing and how much weight he was over the classic limit. And, what about going open? I still think, it's a very strange decision to not do this one last Olympia with Bumstead gone.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Sommerfeld's a slouch and he's going to beat Sommerfeld. And we have a few other guys that are amazing as well. But, I would have given it one last shot, unless it's that dangerous and that stressful for him to go back down to the classic weight.
I'm very interested to see if he's going to get up there as an open and we're going to be like, holy shit, this guy needs to go open. Like that Stefan guy, the guy that Patrick Tours, the one guy, Stefan, I forget his last name. The black guy with the beautiful round muscle bellies and the straighter chest. The guy who won Portugal, last year or the year before. Yeah. And now he's coming as open and he looks... Yeah. Sorry?
Somebody put his name up, Stefan Matala.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there you look at him now and you think, yeah, this guy was destined to go open. But it'd be interesting to see if he looks like he is bringing his best physique as an open, or whether it's like, oh, no, this is a disaster. He should rethink the Olympia this year and maybe think about, just doing whatever you need to do to get down to classic. But I wonder when he made the decision as well. I wonder if he started the prep thinking I'm going to go classic, or whether just halfway through, like Lunsford, when we spoke to his wife at the Sunday seminar at the Olympia in 2022, and she said after the Olympia, she said he was just eating kale salads and his body weight was still going up. It was going to 230. Because Hani Rambos said, okay, let's not take your off-season body weight below, was it above 230 or 240? And apparently he hit 230, then 240, then 250, and then 260, and then I think they just decided, okay, this guy needs to go open. So I wonder if Urs was in the situation where he was just really, really struggling, or whether he actually set out and he just basically kept it quiet.
Yeah, it's a good question, and the choice of contest is really odd as well, unless he needed the extra couple of weeks, because there's a show right there in Germany on September 14th, just 1 week later. Who's to say he won't do that as well? I suppose. That is the final chance to qualify.
I think he would.
And then, not even a week later, 6 days later is France. No, I'm sorry. It's 2 weeks later. The France Pro, the 27th of September. That is the first chance to qualify for 2026. Because Italy, I cannot see him. He looks great. Don't get me wrong. I don't see him beating all three of those guys we just mentioned, Mark Hector, Sergio Oliva Jr., and Quinton Uria.
No.
Good luck.
No.
So it's a very odd.
It made an exciting show actually more exciting, because I just hope he doesn't get up there and it's just like, oh no, you've just completely ruined tarnished your kind of your reputation or your standing in the industry of where people kind of perceive you, because it wasn't like he's not a one-time top three guy. He's like he's one of those guys that unless he messes up, which I've never seen him do. Yeah, exactly. 3 years in a row, top three in a class that is that competitive. I mean, that he is like the best of the best, in that top level of the classic guys, and he's maintained it. And the thing is, he's still quite young, isn't he? He's 26, 25?
Yeah, 26.
How old is he now?
I mean, it's still. I mean, people forget how young he was when he turned pro and
26.
started.
So.
Yeah, he was 22 when he was. Yeah, 22. He was. He turned pro. I think he was only. Yeah, so he was only 22 when Milos and I saw him win in for Chicago or Tampa. I mean, it was one of those COVID years. So None of the shows
Tampa.
were actually happening. Was it Tampa? Yeah.
Tampa.
So yeah, he was just a kid. He's still very young.
I remember you both raving about him.
Yeah, because he was so young. And the thing is, with these young guys, their bodies are primed. These are the growing years. This is when any of them are going to put on a ton of muscle mass through training and eating. He's probably been growing in the off season, putting on muscle, and then having to strip it all away at contest time. Just like, Flex Lewis is a great example. We know Flex was losing pure muscle mass the last couple of years. He was winning 212 Olympia. But
I wonder if Flex seeing the results of guys like Derek Lunsford, William Bonac, Haddy. I wonder if he ever regrets not jumping in that open at least once or twice. I know he did it early on in his career, but I mean later. I wonder if he ever regrets that, because we never got to see the best version of him at 226.
I'm sure.
Imagine if we hadn't got to see. I mean, if you remember Derek as a 212, imagine if he'd have just really did everything he needed to do to stay as a 212. We never would have got to see that incredible open version of him. 22, 23, even 24. He's still top 3 Olympia guy.
Well, I could say this is creating a lot of buzz. That show already had the fact that Quint jumped into it. Oh, I thought he was going to do some training here. The fact that Quint's in there, Sergio Oliva Jr., Mark Hector, it already had a very strong lineup. But now we're going to have a situation similar to CBum doing the Prague show, where there's going to be a ton of classic fans coming over just to watch and see what their favorite athletes doing in the open at this show.
Yeah. I just don't think he's going to get on stage looking terrible. I can't imagine how he's going to look with even another 10 pounds. I mean, because 10 pounds on a guy, like that, it would transform his physique, So I just, I don't know. I'm excited because I actually can't visualize it yet. I can't imagine what he looked like. So I just hope he doesn't get up there and it's a complete disaster. So I really, really hope that that doesn't happen, because like you said, for someone who's a multiple top 3 Olympia guy, this would not be good for him. We've seen guys go back and forth between 212 open, classic, 212 open, all that. We've seen them do jumping back and forth between categories. So if it's not super successful and he just gets completely annihilated, then he's still 26, 27. He can still jump back into classic at some point. Do you know what it just comes down to? Just if he's going to 270 in the off season, don't go that heavy. It's seriously. Like, I know some classic guys, they don't even take gear in the off season. I know that's one approach of one or two that I've spoken to, and they say, look, in the off season, I might take a little bit of test or something, but I can't, because my body will grow. So, the time they ramp it in is the 12, 16 weeks before a show. But in the off season, they'll run like 500 mega test, and that's it, because they don't want their bodies to grow, because they know that once they step outside that weight cap, they're in a completely different arena, whether it be 212 or open. So sometimes you've got to compete strategically to basically get the best result for you. Because realistically, even if he wins Italy, say in a university wins Italy, is he going to be top 3 at the Olympia? No. In the open.
This is interesting. The bodyweight discussion just happened here in the video with Hani Rambod. He's apparently I was way off on. Apparently he can be as heavy as 230, so he must be taller. I know they've moved the weight cap up a couple times, because he told Hani here that he's 270, and Hani asked him. He doesn't look, the condition. You can tell by the face. He's not fat. It's a little.
He's not fat at all. Yeah, He's smooth in a way, but he's not carrying body fat. He's not carrying a lot there at all. It's just, just kind of water weight, really.
So he says he's 270. Hani asks him, your weight cap is what, 230? So Urs confirms that. The thing is he wants to see his body, what it's capable of, what his ultimate potential is. And while he's in Classic Physique, that's not possible. So even though he seems like he's resigned to the fact that he knows he's not big enough now to do real damage as an open bodybuilder, which is why I wonder why he's even doing it so quickly. Why is he competing now? Why not put on some more size, come back next year with that? But I guess he just really wants to test the waters.
So what's your opinion? Do you think he started this prep thinking he was going to do Classic Olympia? Or do you think he actually had this plan like all year? What's your thoughts?
I think he decided long ago he was done with Classic.
Wow.
He didn't. I mean, as far back as springtime, I should say, probably by March, April. Like we're looking here, this was 5 months ago. So this was around April right here, March or April. And he was already telling Hani at that point that losing the weight was an issue. I think at this point this is why I need to interview him. I don't like assuming what people's thoughts are.
Yeah, so we can do, really.
I do it all damn day, unfortunately, but
yeah,
I strongly feel that the fact that he was that lean at that high body weight, and I remember him last year posting videos and pictures right around 270, and I said, geez, he's not fat. He doesn't look like he has 20, 30 pounds to go. So yeah,
so hang on. He's not going to be doing Italy at 270. So forget that 40 pounds thing. I mean, that's just nonsense.
Right.
I mean, at 270, he's not going to be ready on stage. I don't care. You know, that obviously is that somehow is, because people are saying, oh, he's 70. He has to lose 17 kilos to make his weight cap. Yeah, from 270, but that's body fat and water. That's not 17 kilos of muscle he's losing. That's water and fat. So I'd be surprised if he competes at maybe like 240 or something, or 245. Do you think maybe seeing Bumstead do Prague last year has got him fired up as well?
Of course. And that was wasn't Bumstead only like 8 pounds over, something like that?
Yeah. And thing is, Urs was there because he was on the stand with us with Ronnie.
Oh,
so he was there watching, and he's obviously looking at Chris at 248, I think he weighed in. So he was like 6 pounds over what he was at the Olympia, because Bumstead weighed in at 241.5. His weight limit was 242. He was 248, I believe, in Prague, and he looked sensational. Like I said, I had him winning. I was there doing the commentary. But, Urs was there watching that on stage, and I wonder if he was thinking, seeing Chris looking even better than he did when he won the Classic Olympia, thinking maybe it is about bringing the best physique and not just worrying about maintaining my placing as a Classic pro. And another thing is he can kind of afford to take the gamble because he's a part owner at ESN.
Oh no, I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, he's got a percentage of the company. And that's a company that is doing very, very well. I mean, it's turning over hundreds of millions of euros, dollars, or whatever you want to say. And he's actually, I think he's got, I heard a rumor that he's got like a few percent of the actual company. So he's kind of 26, 27. He's had this great career already. He's like Chris Bumstead. He's achieved so much at so young. I bet he's thinking, do you know what? It's now or never. I may as well take the leap now rather than struggle and get stressed out and depressed and feel. Plus, he said it was very stressful on his mind and his body. He said getting down to that 230. So maybe he just wants to test the waters and see how he does. I mean, I don't think he's expecting to come into Italy and win this, but, he's probably curious to see, because the thing is, he'll know how he looks his best. He'll know that, like when Flex Lewis is looking in the mirror 4 weeks out at 226, and then he probably looks at Neil and thinks, well, we're going to have to get 14 pounds off this. And it's a shame because then you're not bringing your best to the stage. Right. So for Urs, I think he's doing this as an experiment. I don't think he's got any lofty expectations. I don't think he thinks he's going to beat anyone like a Mark Hector or a Quinn or anything guys like that. But I think he just wants to see how he looks himself, how he feels, take the stress of the crashing down to 230, and also see how he compares so he knows how far he has to go to be a successful Open, or whether it's a complete disaster as an experiment and then we just see him back next year as a Classic.
I don't think he'll come back to Classic. I think
really
if he places, I don't think he's going to place poorly because he's so consistent with condition. I don't see him stepping on stage out of shape. I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, that's my feeling. That's my feeling.
So maybe it's not going to be as heavy as some people think it's going to be, but he'll be in shape. He'll probably his shape and his condition will probably carry him through to. I could see him getting like 4th or 5th in a lineup like that. Depending on who's there. You don't think so?
Come on now, Theo, Lewis Breed, Sergio, if he's on, Mark Hector, Quint. I mean, I just don't see him stacking up next to these guys. I could see him around 7th, 8th. And the thing is, there's a lot of new guys and a lot of other good guys around Europe, good Open guys that I think he might. Thing is, though, remember Fabian Mayer?
Yeah.
Remember when he jumped into the show a few weeks ago because he didn't make the classic weight, and then he ended up getting fourth, and and he compared a lot better next to the open guys, better than I thought he would. So I think it's 230, which he's going to be heavier than that. Is not a small bodybuilder. That is not a small guy. I mean, we've seen guys like Sean Clarida, like 212s, he's short in stature and, but it's about overall size and development, conditioning. It's not always about the actual sheer size. And the thing is, these 212 and these classic guys, when they jump into these open shows, they stack up very, very, the top guys stack up really, really well, sometimes better than we expect. I mean, remember you and me were we were thinking, Chris Bumstead will be third, fourth, fifth at Prague. And then he came in and I'm losing my shit on the live stream going, I've got him winning, which I didn't expect. I did not expect to see him, in my eyes, looking better than, Martin Fitzwater, who'd just taken fourth at Olympia, arguably third. So for me, sometimes I think these guys do surprise themselves, and they do surprise us fans when they actually do take the leap and get up there. So who knows? Maybe you're right. Maybe he might get fourth or fifth. I mean, I just think next to guys like Theo, though, I just don't see it, mate.
Well, I mean, you mentioned Lewis Breed, and Lewis Breed has tremendous, size and density, but structure and shape is not that pleasing. I could see Urs beating him. That's just one guy, and it's nothing against Lewis. I'm just saying the shape that has carried Urs, the things that have carried him this far as a Classic Physique guy, and he's been a Classic Physique, one of the very top guys in the division since he jumped into it, like immediately. He was winning shows. He was top 3, top 4 at the Olympia and the Arnold, like right away. I don't see him doing that poorly. I think he's going to stand up very well. And another thing I think Leo Mehrhofer, Austrian Powers, was his first coach years ago when he was a teenager. He thinks his posing is gonna carry him and help him do better, which I kind of disagree because they don't judge the pose. The posing around isn't even judged, unfortunately. He is an amazing poser.
Well, thing is though, the image in our heads is like the picture we're looking at now, like the 230-pound version. I've seen Wesley like 10, 15, 20 pounds over his weight limit, and he could step on stage and look sensational. Yeah. So maybe that 4-week out, 6-week out version of Urs where his glutes are shredded, because this guy's got shredded glutes in the off season. I mean, I've seen it; it's incredible. Wow. So like maybe he'll get out, but then we'll just go like, holy shit, he is meant to be open. So I'm really excited to see what he'll look like, and also, but it'd be interesting to see if his physique is actually enhanced by the extra body weight. Do you know what I mean? Whether he actually looks better, or because sometimes you see guys, they put body weight on and they don't look better for it. They actually look worse. But someone like Urs, it might enhance his. It's like Samson. Samson got bigger and bigger and bigger, and if anything, his aesthetics improved.
Yeah, I mean, so it's these past few years when we've known Urs since the beginning. His pro career hasn't been a pro that long. The areas that we were always critical of were the arms and the back. And those are the two areas that I really want to see, and I hope to see significant improvement in. I know his arms look good there, but compared to these open guys, I mean, geez, we were looking at the Texas Pro last weekend with arms on the guys like Quint and Joe Palacios. These guys have massive arms and thick, dense backs.
Yeah, but the thing is, Ron, if you're someone who struggles to make a weight cut, whether it be classic or 212, you and I know that when you crash down, the last bit of body weight comes off those body parts that you struggle with. Like I've seen Wesley's legs a few weeks out, and they're huge. I've seen him in the offseason when we did the tour last year. His legs are enormous. But when he crashes down in those last couple of weeks, I remember seeing the backstage stuff of him at the Olympia, and I was thinking, where's the sweep on his legs gone? Where's his hamstrings gone? Where's his chest gone? So maybe sort of when he gets up on stages and open, his arms will look a lot better because, something has to go from somewhere. And like I said, sod's law, it's always the body part that we struggle most with. So let's see, and the thing is, not every open guy has fantastic arms either.
Yeah, someone just pointed that out. I mean, not fantastic, but there's nobody in the open that's doing well, that's a top 5 in any show that you could say they have bad arms. I've seen some guys with kind of weaker legs. Presti's a good example. His legs aren't great; they're not, but his upper body is just fantastic, and that carries him pretty far.
Hang on, what does Derek Lunsford get most criticized for?
The quads.
No, the arms. The arms.
The arms.
So there's a guy who's won the Olympiad. It's not exactly hurting him. It's just because all the other boxes are ticked, So it doesn't necessarily mean that he's not going to do well because he doesn't have the greatest arms. The thing is, he might get up there and he might actually look a bit fuller in the upper body. And the thing is, he's got good separation. He's got good quality. He's got good condition. And like I said, I was really shocked when that Fabian Mayer did, was it Portugal a few weeks ago? When he did Portugal, and I wasn't expecting him to compare. I knew he'd look good, but I didn't know how he would compare next to the open guys. And he only missed his classic weight limit by a couple of pounds. I mean, he only just missed it. So it wasn't like he was 10 pound over or 15 pound over. Like he was basically a classic guy that was a couple of pounds over that basically couldn't make weight, that had to jump in the open. And I was really shocked. I was really pleasantly surprised when I saw the comparisons. I was thinking, holy shit, he is really holding his own up there. And maybe you're right. Maybe Urs might stand next to a Sergio or a Quint or whatever and actually compare very well. And who knows, maybe even beat a few.
Yeah, people are talking about the jimmied up arms now. Of course, that was going to come up. But
his arms ain't jimmy, do they?
No, they're not. I mean, but someone mentioned Derek's. Derek doesn't have bad arms. They're not bad. They just don't have any detail to them. They're not tiny. I mean, name somebody that's got smaller arms that are a weak link. I can't think of anybody really that's at the top level. I mean, I'm thinking, I know I'm jumping to the Olympia, but Samson, big arms. Hottie, big arms. Nick Walker, Nick's got longer.
Don't worry about him. He's okay in the arm department.
Andrew Jack, great arms.
Yeah.
Martin Fitzwater, they're pretty good. They're not great, but they're pretty good.
Room for improvement.
They're not weak by any means. And then you go to guys like Bonac and I think Curry's still competing. Yeah. I mean, he's got work to do, but I do think we're going to see something that we've never seen before. Obviously, we're going to see a bigger version of him. I think the condition is still going to be. I don't think he would ever get on stage. What we're looking at here, I don't know if he's going to be that detailed, but I don't think he's going to be terribly far off.
Yeah, but have you seen him when he's in the off season, even at 270, and I've seen him like posing his legs, and he's still got lines in his glutes, mate. But when you interview him, please ask him to look him straight in the eye and say, look, be honest with me now, Urs. When did you actually 100% privately decide that you were going to go open? Was it before the prep even started? Was it during the prep? When? Because I'm really curious to know when that decision happened, because I wouldn't be shocked if he was actually in earnest trying to compete at the Olympia. Because the thing is, why wouldn't he? Because Bumstead's gone. He's third.
Yeah.
It's the main guy out. So it means that everyone else can, move up and, I don't know, mate. And I think I do believe him. I mean, I do believe him when he says that it was because he just struggled to make weight, because Derek's told us this. Derek and his wife told us exactly the same. Like I said, when he went from 212 to open, they said it wasn't like a conscious thing. It's just the body wants to grow, and these guys, in their 20s and early 30s, they've not reached anywhere near their ceiling. So, and the thing is with Urs, you can see when he's training, he's someone who actually really enjoys training. He's one of those guys that probably, and he's. Like I said, if he's 270 and he has to crash down to 2, I mean, that's 40 pounds isn't a huge amount of weight to lose. But he's probably one of those guys that, like I said, training with Marcus Roll, and Marcus is encouraging him, oh, God, you're ready at 240, 245. You're not considered it. I imagine that in his ear maybe played a factor as well. And like I said, he can take a gamble because he can afford to, because he's doing very well for himself.
Yeah, I mean, he mentioned that the fans might be upset or sponsors, but from what you just said, the sponsors, if he's part owner of the company, I don't think the sponsors are going to be too upset.
Technically, he doesn't even have a supplement sponsor, because he owns part of the company.
I mean, that's the way to go.
Yeah. So the thing is, if you're going to do it, you may as well do it now.
Yeah.
So, why not? Why not? If he's 26, 27 and he's kind of coming into his prime, and that's why I'm really glad that Bumstead did do that Prague show, because I'm really, really happy because I've seen Bumstead on stage at the Olympia, but I'm really, really, really happy to see that we got to see that best version, because if he never comes back, I can actually say, wow, I saw the 248, 249 pound, polished, perfect version of what, the best version of Chris Bumstead ever. So I guess they are Bumstead. So I guess Urs is probably, I think at the end of the day, they're athletes, and they want to bring their best to the stage because, like I said, Flex Lewis. I mean, I wonder how he felt getting on stage, knowing that the physique he was bringing was not the same physique that he probably saw in the mirror 4 weeks before. Every single year. Because Flex told me, he said from 2014 onwards, he said it was an absolute torture to get down to 212. So maybe Urs just doesn't want to go down that road as well. I kind of respect it, really. And like I said, I saw Phil Heath putting comments and saying, the fact that he's making the decision, for his health, his kind of, his inner beast as an athlete, because these guys are, yes, they want to be competitive, and he knows he's going to be competitive in the Classic. But to come out of his comfort zone and jump into an all-new arena, I mean, that takes real balls, and I really applaud him for that.
Yeah, because I think he knows he's not winning the Italy show. He's probably not even, if he goes into Germany, I don't know who's going to do that show, but any really good open guy would probably take him out now. I'm basing that on what I think he's going to look like. He could
he's got to start somewhere, though, isn't he? He's got to start somewhere.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a ballsy move. He's definitely taking a chance because someone who's done so well, he's won I don't know how many shows. He's never been out of the top 5 at any pro show since he started. So for him to take a chance of not being in that top 5 at an open show, that's a big gamble for someone who's already done so well for his entire pro career.
I'm going to ask you this, Ron. Could he actually win it?
The Italy show?
I mean, we've seen stranger things have happened. I mean,
they have.
I'm trying to. Like I said, 2020. If you'd have said to me in summer 2020, Rami's going to win the Olympia, I would have laughed in your face that year. But like I said, things happen. We can be shocked. Like I said, Fabian Mayer, I would not have predicted that he would have been really pushing the other open guys. When he was just like a pound or two over and prepped as a Classic guy. So stranger things have happened, and it's that'd be a good power hour to do actually. I think sort of unpredictable things we did not see coming, because I think the thing is he's top 3 Olympia, mate, and these other guys, yes, they're good open guys, but they're not in that level. And you saw what Bumstead did in Prague.
True. So someone was asking about his clavicle width. Tell me, do you think he does have narrow clavicles compared to some of the top open guys?
No.
I don't think they're narrow by any means. They're not super wide, but structurally he's a tall guy. He's very close to 6 foot tall.
Yeah.
I think he can carry. I am curious to see how this mass is going to look on him. I think he is going to surprise a lot of people, and I'm not counting him out. So it's going to be very tough in Italy, but someone in a young guy from Germany here, your mom's flip-flop, who follows him very closely, says he thinks he's going to do all 3 shows: Germany, Italy, and France.
Brilliant.
If you're in Germany, what's Italy and France are 3-4 hour flight?
I could see him like scooping up, say, 2 or 3 6th places, like around that, a 5th. I think realistically in my heart, I think maybe 5th to 7th in all 3 shows. And honestly, if he did that, and he actually looks good, and he actually brings a physique that it's like, okay, because the thing is he's quite tall, so he's got, there's more to do with a tall physique. There's more. The sky's the limit in terms of progression. I mean, it's like Samson. Samson can still make further improvements, and he's 6 foot tall. And he's already Mr. Olympia. But whereas like the shorter guys, they're kind of maxed out. Like Hadi, what different can he bring this year? Whereas the taller guys, he's probably excited. Thing is, he's probably got excited about prepping and training again now, rather than being obsessed with stepping on the scale and thinking, shit, I've still got 25 pounds to lose and there's 6 weeks to go or 5 weeks to go. And I bet it is really stressful. But now he doesn't have to worry about that. All he has to worry about is Stefan saying, yep, you're in condition, you're coming in nicely, you're going to be rock hard, you're going to be ready, you're going to be bringing that conditioning, but you're going to be 10, 15 pounds heavier. I imagine that takes a lot of pressure off him as an athlete. So like I said, I'm excited, and I will be paying very close attention to the show. Yeah,
so I guess France is not confirmed, but he's definitely doing Italy and Germany. Why wouldn't he do Germany? He lives in Germany. That would it'd be very silly if he didn't do the Germany show.
Does he still live in Berlin?
I don't know. Your mom's flip-flop. Does he still live in Berlin? Because he just moved. I don't know if he moved within the same city or if he's in Tampa, Florida now, like everybody else, or Dallas, Texas, like everybody else. He's not a gas factory, so he's probably not in Texas. Yeah.
No, because thing is, you're saying he moved. I heard that. I heard he, like, even when he's been doing very, very well in the last few years, he still stayed in that small apartment that he had from when he first moved to Berlin. Because his first ever media interview was with me.
I did not know that. Wow.
On Global Muscle, because apparently I spoke to him about it, and he was saying, he said, "Do you realize, Giles?" He says, "My first," because it was Samson's as well, first ever online media interview." And he said, "Giles," he says, "I was so nervous before I came on." He says, "And he said, I always appreciate it. I'll never say no to you for an interview." He says, "Because you always put me at ease." He says, "You made me feel," he says, "it was my first one." He said, "My hands were literally shaking when we came online to do the interview." He says, "I'd never done one." He says, "I want to thank you." He said, "I'll always appreciate the fact that you were so, you were sort of good at kind of keeping me calm and stuff, and and when I used to start my interviews, and I used to do that, and stupid clap, and it was very self-deprecating. And I used to do it. No, it was a bit. I come across a bit special. I used to do that deliberately.
You had the sound effect with people cheering. I remember.
Yeah. So I used to do that. I used to do that as a way to kind of like put them at ease, so it's not like so formal, because then it gets them sort of laughing at me, and I don't mind that because the attention's on them. So yeah, anyway. So
Raymond, I want Raymond to clarify this. When was the last time it was silly for someone to do a show? I want to know, because I'm wrong a lot of times. I want to know when the times I was right. So here's an update on where he moved. He's out in the country, south of Germany, a small town where he has his piece in his own house, out in the open country, massive field. Wow, so he's gone rural.
Nice.
Like you.
Works for me.
Agar Towers is out in the countryside for sure.
Yeah.
See horses and goats and capybara and didn't you have hedgehogs and all kinds of things running around yeah, that's crazy. Yep. I said Quentin should do Texas Pro. Well, I still don't think it was a mistake.
Oh, come on. That wasn't a mistake.
No. He just came in too full.
Yeah.
It wasn't a mistake to do the show. I mean, he had just taken second in Tampa. It would have been silly for him not to do so.
And Ron, stage presence is never wasted, especially if you're trying to get that formula right. People saying, because obviously with Quentin in Tampa, I knew he's one of those physiques that comes out strong and then he fades as the day goes along. Whereas I knew Jordan would kind of hold it.
Yeah.
Because he's that kind of physique, and I knew he'd been in condition for quite a while, so I knew that those guys it's easier to maintain. And the tall guys, they do tend to come out really strong and then fade by the day goes on. I've seen it many, many times. Dennis Wolf was the main one for doing that. He looked incredible when he used to first come out, and everyone would be like, "Oh!" And by the end of like prejudging it, it looked like a different guy. So I think, but obviously with Quentin's example. He probably thought, okay, well, if I'm flattening out as the show goes on, I'll load up and come in nice and full. Because the more you compete, the more you learn, And the thing is, Quentin's one of those guys that once he gets it right, it's like everyone's in trouble. So it's stage presence and doing shows and bringing, like Nathan Diasher. I mean, he spoke to me before. He goes, "Oh, for this show, I'm going to bring this look, and that show, I'm going to bring that look." I remember he told me once, I rolled my eyes at him, and I kind of thought, oh yeah. And then he did like 3-4 shows on the trot, and it looked like almost like a different bodybuilder every time. And I messaged him. I said, "How did you do that?" And he says, "You just got to know what you're doing." He says, "And sometimes you got to bring a different look for a different set of judges or a different type of show." It's you'd be surprised actually how much the athletes know their own bodies, how to manipulate the looks, smaller and drier or bigger and fuller. And obviously they experiment and then they see what works, what works best,
All right. Well, we love conspiracy theories just because they're sometimes. So this Brad McDermott says they handpicked politically talk about Mike Sommerfeld to be the next champ. So there's no point in doing the Olympia. Mike is the same size as Keon. That's suspicious.
Oh,
you don't think let him go over the weight cap?
Ron, you don't think this is a German thing, do you?
What's that? Going over the weight?
Well, I heard this is what I heard about. Don't shoot the messenger. I heard last year Urs was losing his mind because he could see what Mike Sommerfeld was potentially bringing, and I heard that he was very, very insecure about what potentially Mike Sommerfeld was going to do, which he did actually end up bringing and actually beating. Because obviously Mike was second, Urs was third. This is what I was told. I mean, it's probably bullshit.
Yeah,
but the fact that maybe it is like, well, if I can't, no, but then again, going getting 6th place in Italy is not because he would have been top 5 or top 3. I mean, he's going to be a top contender as a classic guy. So I don't know. Well, obviously we're just wildly speculating here, but you got a lot of questions to ask him for his interview, mate.
Absolutely. Well, look, I know we're going off topic by showing Sommerfeld, but good Lord, does this guy look huge?
How is he going to make classic?
It's perplexing. Like, do his bones not weigh anything? Are they hollow?
I don't get it. Remember that rear lat spread I just put on the group chat?
Yeah, that looked like photoshopped. It was so ridiculous.
That's not class. I mean, I'm baffled at how he can hold so much size. And then you get guys like Logan Franklin, who looks like a men's physique next to him.
Yeah, I mean,
he does. He looks thin. I mean, he's beautiful physique, Logan Franklin. But even Ruffin would look small next to Summerfield. And isn't the weight cap supposed to be fair for their height? It's based upon height and weight with a ratio that everyone has the same advantage. I mean, I don't know why he's such an anomaly of why he looks like a 212 and open there. I mean, like a short 212 with packing a lot of thickness like Clarida. I mean, he would. I mean, that's a 212.
Yeah,
a good 212.
Well, he would already. There's no doubt in my mind if he wanted to do the 212 division at the Olympia this year and they let him or he qualified, he'd be top 2, top 3. He'd be pushing Keon, I think.
No,
I don't.
Keon's next level now, mate.
Keon's beating him, but I'm saying he'd be in the call out. He'd be in that first call out. He wouldn't be a second, third call out guy at the 212 Olympia.
Keon, Clarida, Niat. He could be like a top 5. I think he'd be a top 5 Olympia guy. Yeah,
and I mean for a classic physique competitor who's, I don't know what he weighs for his height. Does anybody know? Your mom's flip flop, my German buddy. He's my authority on the Germans here. So if you know what he weighs, because I know when I interviewed him, I asked him about the weight cap, and he was adamant that it's not a problem for him to make the weight. He makes it no problem.
Been a bit of a shocker that today. Like I said, I didn't. It was like when Bumstead was announced doing Prague. I did not see that coming. I didn't even hear any rumors. I heard literally. I messaged Peter Pick and I went, "How the hell do you manage that?" And he just sent me loads of. He said he started messaging me back, and he said literally said we just confirmed it now. But so like this, but the Urs doing open. I mean, that caught me by surprise. I got to admit.
Yeah, I mean, I figured he would do it eventually. I didn't think it was going to happen this soon, but the fact that he's been getting up so heavy in the past, I think this is like the 3rd off season in a row that he's been in that 260, 270 range. Because I remember a couple of years ago hearing it, I'm like 270, whatever he was. Why is he so? This makes no sense. Why is he so heavy?
Yeah, but Ron, 5'11", 40 pounds to lose for a guy that height. If he's 5'11", close to 6 foot, 40 pounds is nothing, mate.
Yeah, true.
Well, some people really, that's not even. I bet even at 270, I've seen him. He's still got lines in his glutes, so he's not even holding a lot of body fat, mate.
Yeah. So let's see. Let's give him I'm certainly not doubting what he's going to do, and I think it's exciting. I am kind of saddened because I wanted to see him in one Olympia without Bumstead at least.
Yeah.
Bumstead was just he had a monopoly. He had a stranglehold on that title for 6 years in a row. Nobody really had a chance as long as Chris was there. Even when Chris was a little off, he was still pretty easily winning. So, Summerfield's very, very good, but still Urs would have had, this is the first time it's open that we haven't had a reigning champion in Classic for all those years.
Yeah.
There's a Ronnie. So.
Well, that was at the, that was on the booth. I was there with him. Yeah, in Prague last October because Urs was next to us on the booth. He was selling his T-shirts and stuff. Yeah, he was literally he was with us all day.
Well, there's this footage of Bumstead. Okay.
Oh, buddies. Yeah, do you know what I like though? I like the way the Classic guys are all genuinely friends. It seems like they all hang out together, train together. They I guess because they're kind of pioneers of the category. They've all become superstars in their own right. And they're all making a fantastic living, and they've got huge followings, and they're doing very well for themselves financially, which I love to see. So I like the fact that they all seem. I can imagine Urs and Chris playing video games at his house and going for food and training together, even when they were competitive rivals. I could, in fact, did you see that Andrea Presti and Quint's been training with Samson and everything today?
What's Presti doing in the UK?
Yeah, well, Presti and Mauro are actually all training with Quint and Samson. So there's some really good Olympia footage there, mate.
Oh, wow.
It's cool. Yeah, it's really cool. So I love to see stuff like that. It's nice because Samson could be like, no, it's all about me. It's all about the Olympia prep. But he's not. He's like, yeah, come on, guys. Let's collaborate and fire each other up. And, he's got his own private gym that he can train and, kick everyone out of. It's brilliant. I mean, it's great to see, because it means then we get to see some good content, I just saw on Andrea Presti's Instagram there. He's there doing some shoulders and you got Samson egging him on and, it's this is what we want to see in the lead up to the Olympia. I love seeing stuff like that. And obviously got Quinton and Samson, two very similar styles of physique training together, supporting each other. Quint will be, revving him up for the Olympia, and then obviously because he's, Quinton's doing Italy in a couple of weeks. Yeah. So it's I honestly think Mark Hector, I think you're going to be shocked by what he brings this year, mate. I messaged him today actually a couple of times, been texting back and forth today. I says, mate, I think you're going to win Italy, mate.
I think they're talking about Sommerfeld was at his lightest, 222. He can't be 222 because Sommerfeld, he's only 5'8" or so, isn't he? He's not that tall.
Yeah, he's not tall.
So maybe that's they keep bumping it. They bumped the weight up twice. Mark Hector is still going to win it. Okay. Surprise me if Mark wins. Says fix the upper body left to right imbalance. I'm not aware of that.
I don't see any imbalance. The imbalance was his lower body, and now he's really brought that up. Trust me. I mean, calves, glutes, quads, adductors, hamstrings. I mean, like I said, I saw him guest pose when I took Terence to that Cuba's annual thing in Sheffield, and as soon as he was walking on stage, he walked straight past me, and I saw the legs, and I was like, well, that's new. I was like, holy shit, what have you done to your legs? And he says, well, Cuba's really put me on a interesting training plan, and I'm really trying to really sort of level up. I was like, it's worked, mate. I said, because that was the one thing he needed. He just lacked in the lower body. So to come back with everything improved, not just the quads, but the calves, the hamstrings, the glutes, everything. I'm excited for him, and after all that problems he's had with his shoulder, I'm obviously because I had my shoulder problems last year. I'm really rooting for him, and I like him as well. He's a good kid, and I want to see him. I want to see him go to that next level and really get the accolades and the financial sort of rewards that comes with that, because he's a good guy, and I think he's I even when he came along a few years ago, I thought he is a guy to really follow Samson into the pro league. Someone who's really gonna. I think he's got similar sort of level of potential to go to the very, very top. So fingers crossed.
Someone had asked a few questions ago about Andrew Jack. Does he ask Giles if Andrew has a new coach? Have you heard anything about that?
I don't know. Andrew, I spoke to him briefly a couple of weeks ago, but we didn't talk about coaches or anything. I forgot. I can't remember what we talked about actually, but it wasn't along those lines anyway.
Yeah. Well, if he had switched coaches and he had announced it, we would have heard.
Yeah,
that would have been huge. Anytime people switch coaches now.
But he when he's over in Dubai, he trains by himself, mate.
Yeah, you've said that before, which is odd. I mean,
well, watch his videos. He's never training with anyone. I mean, maybe he might have somebody jumping in or helping him with his weights and stuff, because he goes to work. He's a bit of a loner. He goes to work. He's got because he's very private about his private life, his personal life. Yeah. And all he posts is just that same. He puts his little, his tripod up, and he does his videos, or whether he has somebody in the gym film the odd bit of session. But he's like, he always trains alone. He said he's always trained alone. Actually, he told me he used to train alone, fasted in the at 5-6 a.m. or whatever, on a completely empty. Because I was like, fasted. Like he said, yeah. He says I trained that way for years. I always train very, very early in the morning, and and it's always fasted.
It's an awful idea. Horrible.
Rod doesn't like that.
No, I had a coaching client, post a video. He said, I did this workout fast, and I was immediately on the text, like, what are you doing? I told you never, ever train fasted. How dare you? So this guy speculates that Andrew is with Stefan, boss of Outlaw.
Oh my God, everyone.
Yeah, I mean, boss can handle 1,000 clients. God bless him. So
yeah.
I guess we'll see.
Okay, well, that'd be exciting. That'd be exciting to see, because if he can, like I said, Andrew's just a Mr. Olympia waiting to happen, because as soon as he gets that formula right, it's like Quint, they're gonna jump up, And the thing is, like, Andrew's a top 5 Olympia guy, and if he jumps up and he improves that physique and gets everything right and comes out full and dry and everything, I mean, then I could see the last two standing. I could see that being Samson and Andrew. I think we can all see that.
Oh, 100%. So, all right, I'm going to take off because in just an hour, not even an hour and a half, wow, an hour and 18 minutes, me and Big Mike Cox are going to take on that Phil Clahar 2025 Masters Olympia controversy. We're going to objectively look at the judging shots, the videos, and we're going to decide who should have been first, second, and third with no favoritism. I don't care if it ends up being Dominic Intermaggio, who was the rightful winner. If that's who I see as the rightful winner, then I'll say it. And Mike's not going to hold back either. And, you know, you said I can't let personal bias or friendships cloud my judgment. That's not showing integrity. So
say what you see, Ron. Say what you see, and if it upsets anyone, then you know. I like I said, that's why some pros don't like me because they think, hang on a minute, I've given you interviews, I've given you this, I'm your friend, and it's like, well, you know, I'll always be honest, you know, because at the end of the day, you're not helping them if you're. Remember, Paul Dillette said that once. He said he was trying to work out the difference between why Dorian was always so on and so far ahead of everybody else. He says, like. He's like, you know, everyone in Venice be telling me I'm looking amazing. And then he gets on the stage and then like, oh, well, you got fifth because you were off. And then you look around and all those guys then are all scuttling away because they just, do you know what I mean? Because they don't know what they're talking about in terms of what real condition is, you know. And, you know, sometimes like Dorian used to have, I think, Kerry Kay's, his wife. There was like 3 or 4 people, Paul Baxendale, people that would give it to him straight, you know. So because otherwise, come show day, if you're not 100% bang on and you've been told that you are, and it's been making you feel good all those weeks when you've been feeling like shit, then you know it's what counts on stage at the end of the day. So just say what you see and just be honest and leave it at that.
And if he's angry, I'm sorry. I would hope that he respect my honesty, and I'm not gonna. You know, I'm not going to take Dorian's side or Phil's side or Dominic's or anybody else. It's going to be completely objective because I say this all the time. And I'm like a broken record. I'm looking at physiques. I'm not looking at personalities or character or anything like that. I'm just purely looking at the physique of this human being in front of me. They could be a scumbag. They could be a saint. Doesn't matter. It's
a visual sport, Ron. It's a visual sport. And the thing is, you're judged upon how you look, and the thing is, we decide to get up on stage in front of those judges and be, you know, and be scrutinized and be compared, and it's a sport comparison. At the end of the day, if you're best on stage, you're the best on stage. If somebody next to you is better than you, that's it. End of story. So yeah, just use your good eye, really analyze the footage, and just speak from the heart, mate. And just what will be will be.
So that's coming up in an hour and 15 minutes. Boy, I better hurry up. I got to walk Branch.
I've got no food in the house. I'm going to go to the supermarket now and get some.
This was a late one for you and last minute. So thank you so much, Giles. Appreciate that. And that's it, guys. Keep your notifications on because I'll be back very, very soon. So that is it. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye-bye now.
Cool.